Hello, my name is Rudolph M. Young, and I'm here to talk about my new book. My new book is called Our Gift to the World, Remembering Our Ancestors. And why I want to say remembering our ancestors is because of Juneteenth. We do not need another Black History program. We do not need another celebration of independence, which happened in December 1865. You see, what we need is a holiday that we can celebrate every month, which means that we can do this with the Juneteenth celebration since this is a national holiday. And I would like to say that this is 2024. We are 5 years into the time of the end, or the end time, or the apocalypse. And we African Americans do not know anything about how Black people are going to be treated in the apocalypse, because we have ignored our Black leaders and our elders and our relatives. General Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president of Nigeria, told us how we should treat Yorubas in the time of the end, or the Mossi prophecy, because he did not believe in the Jewish Holocaust that was meant for European Jews and European white people. He said in 2023 in a documentary called Bigger Than Africa, he said Yorubas, whether they are in Nigeria, Benin, Togo, Trinidad and Tobago, Cuba, South Carolina, and even France, Spain, and even in Lincoln County, North Carolina. And the reason he said Lincoln County, North Carolina, is because that is the area of his family and relatives. They are called the Maple Grove Clan. And the Maple Grove Clan include me, Miss Robin Dillingham here. Me and Robin Dillingham here. Oprah Winfrey, Barack Obama on his mother's side, and Princess Fatima Bello of the Sokoto Caliphate. and Bosco Obasanjo, called Hannibal Smith, who were slaves in America. Princess Fatima Bello was a slave on the John Hazard Carson Plantation in McDowell County, North Carolina. And Bosco Obasanjo was a slave in Lincoln County on the Vesuvius Furnace Plantation. However, he was not a chattel slave. He became a nominal slave by agreement with the slave masters on that plantation. In other words, he was on that plantation as a nominal slave. He was an employee. And the reason why it was done that way, because in the 1840s, free Negroes or free blacks could not migrate or immigrate into the state of North Carolina. And if they did become free after they're there, they got 30 minutes or 90 days before they would be re-enslaved. Now, like I said, Bosco Obasanjo was a slave on the Vesuvius Furnace Iron Plantation of Lincoln County, North Carolina. Lincoln County is the epicenter of what we call the Maple Grove Plan. Which include about 5,000 people in Lincoln, Gaston, Cleveland, Catawba counties, North Carolina, in western North Carolina, and it includes Attala County, Mississippi, Middlesex County, Connecticut, and Putnam County, Georgia. All the people in this area are related by DNA and by social genealogical research. That's why you have a large variety of these people and people that you do not expect. We already mentioned Mel Watt, Arthur Prysox, Joy Reid of MSNBC, Ali Velcher of MSNBC, Rachel Maddow of MSNBC, Anika Noni Rose, Adolphus de la Mata, And of course, we have our detractors. Our detractors are black people, white people, and Jews. Dr. Henry Louis Gates in 1999, he sent his researcher in North Carolina called Dr. William Andrews of UNC Chapel Hill to interview me. And when I repeated the research done by a 17-year-old student at Lincoln High School, Lincoln, North Carolina, he abruptly ended the conversation saying, I am not at liberty to answer your questions. Yet he wanted me to tell him about Hannah Craft in the bond woman's narrative that Henry Louis Gates was working on at the time. Also in 1999, Dr. Alan Studemeyer from Emory University hired me as a consultant on his book, A Place at the Table. And he paid me by hiring Myra Florence as my research assistant, and he donated part of his royalties to build a monument at the arbor of Tucker's Grove Camp Meeting Place, Iron Station, North Carolina, which is on the National Register of Historic Places. Now, if he had let me finish, I would have told him that Henry Louis Gates was a high-level spy for the Confederacy, and that he had ordered John Hester of Lincoln County, North Carolina, to kill the namesake of Dr. William Andrews of Chapel Hill to kill Captain William Andrews, captain of the CSS Sumter in port at Gibraltar. And John Hill Wheeler did not have a slave named Henry Craft in Lincoln County, North Carolina. However, he was associated with one Hannah Craft in Bertie County and Hereford County, North Carolina. But she had never set foot in Lincoln County. However, I was vindicated. When the book called The Life and Times of Hannah Craft came out years later. And Henry Louis Gates was forced to eat crow on a YouTube channel. I could have told him that the only Craft and Craft family in Lincoln County, North Carolina was that of Lucy C. Craft of Macon, Georgia, who taught at an outdoor school in West Lincoln, North Carolina on Flay Road at Best Chapel Episcopal Church that was established in 1859. The members of that church contacted the American Missionary Association in Augusta, Georgia, and asked them to send a teacher to Lincoln County, North Carolina, and teach at their outdoor school. And she had an assistant named Nathan Bess, who was a former black Confederate who served under Captain Israel, a Jew. In the Confederate Army. Nathan Bess was a courier on horseback. Because, like in the movie Django Unchained, blacks could not ride on horseback. And Django said, they ain't never seen no nigga on a horseback before. That's why it was unusual for a slave who was taken into the Confederate Army as a servant, was a courier on horseback. However, Nathan Best said in 1937 at the WPA slave narratives that he was riding that horse so fast the horse fell on him, and the surgeon cut his arm off right under the horse. And he began to work, coming down south and arriving in Lincoln County in 1868, where he got a job working as an assistant to Lucy Craft Laney. Of course, Lucy Craft Laney entered Emory University in 1869 at 14 years old. She had a friend up there in Lincoln, the same age, followed her into Atlanta University. And Lucy Craft Laney got her a job working as a teacher in southern Georgia. And this student was named Maria Guyon Harris. She was the wife of Cicero Harris of the A.M. Zion Church, and they together established co-established Livingston College in Salisbury, North Carolina, across from Nova Scotia College. And because there was some controversy between recruiting students from a Methodist school, they moved that school to Concord, and it became Livingstone College. Now let's go to Attala County, Mississippi. This is the home of Oprah Winfrey and the Winfrey family. And how I got there in the first place was that I was invited to come to Kosciuszko, Mississippi, from Lee Winfrey, who was a private at Fort Polk, Louisiana. He invited me to Kosciuszko, Mississippi, to meet his family. I went there in the summer of 1968. And met Vernon Winfrey, her father. And I met Elmore and Beatrice Wood Winfrey, Oprah's paternal grandparents. And I emphasize her paternal grandparents because Oprah talked most about her maternal grandmother, Hattie Mae Winfrey. No, Hattie Mae Presley. And Hattie Mae Presley was related to Elvis Presley. So was Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey was descended from the Ibu tribe of Cameroon. However, the DNA test named a different tribe. So was Blair Underwood. He was from the Ibu tribe. However, he was identified as being from another tribe. And the reason for that is because the DNA testers can tell you what tribe you were from, but they can't tell you what that tribe was before. So you might be from everywhere. The DNA test does not tell you that the Ibu fiercely resisted the Sokoto Caliphate under Usman Dan Fodio and Mohammed Bello, the second sultan of the Sokoto Caliphate, of which Princess Fatima Bello of Sokoto, who was the lost daughter of Abu Bakr Atiku, the third sultan of the Sokoto Caliphate, and a relative of Oprah Winfrey. Who is related to me, related to the Holloways, and the Burtons, and the Brevards, and the Brooks, Wingates, Smiths, Nixons, and all the families in Lincoln County, North Carolina. In 1968, I sat on the porch of Elmore Beatrice Wood Winfrey, and they related to me the history of the people of the Maple Grove clan, starting with Hannah Jennings Lucas, the sister of Elizabeth Jennings Graham of New York City. We have been told that she was the 19th century Rosa Parks. And they went on to talk about Amanda Herndon of Madison County, Mississippi, or Canton, Mississippi. Amanda Herndon was implicated in a slave uprising in Lincoln County, North Carolina. And they sent her what you call down the river. And that case, down the river, meant Madison County, Mississippi. She was sent there as a slave of Lawson Henderson of Canton, Mississippi. In fact, I have visited the Lawson Henderson house in Canton, Mississippi, as I have visited the Winfrey family in Kosciuszko, Mississippi. Carson was sent there, not Carson, but Amanda Herndon was sent there, and she was taken to Augustine, Texas, by James Pinckney Henderson, the first governor of state of Texas. And I say that because her cousin, Eliza Carson, from the Pleasant Gardens plantation of John Hazard Carson in McDowell County, North Carolina. She was taken there by Samuel Price Carson. And Samuel Price Carson took the illegitimate daughter of Davy Crockett, who raped African Sarah Carson on the Pleasant Garden plantation, and Samuel Price Carson and his wife Catherine Wilson adopted Eliza and Sam Carson's illegitimate daughter, Emily, and took them to Texas, where David Crockett got killed at the Alamo. And Sam Carson was elected Secretary of State of the Republic of Texas. And he used to exhibit Eliza among the upper class, as she was a prize horse, as they did back on Pleasant Garden, because they introduced horse racing to the Western North Carolina, and taverns, and an ale house, a post office. A post office. And then of course, Eliza Carson was the first and only Yellow Rose of Texas. And Emily D. West did not become the Yellow Rose of Texas until Catherine took Eliza back to Marion, North Carolina, because Samuel Price Carson dropped dead at 41 years old. So Oprah is related to Jefferson Herndon, Sully Herndon, John Roseboro of Attala County, Mississippi, who is the brother of the uncle of John Roseboro of Tucker's Grove in United Methodist Church in Iron Station, Lincoln County, North Carolina, and is buried in the church cemetery, and worked for 40 years sweeping streets at Stanley, North Carolina, in Gaston County. And another relative of the Winfrey family is Maria Guyon Harris. Who is the daughter of Jean Lafitte, who came to North Carolina by way of Warren County, North Carolina, and met Haywood Guyon, a family of French Protestants who were suffering persecution in France. And Lorenzo Ferrara, who was Jean Lafitte, traveled from Warren County to Lincoln, North Carolina, and they landed at St. Luke's St. Luke's Episcopal Church. And Lorenzo Farrar had a child by Haywood Guyon's slave. Her name was Hannah. And he paid, and Lorenzo Farrar paid for her education at Peabody High School in Charlotte, North Carolina. He paid for her education at the Freedman School in Lincoln, taught by Robert Whitmore, who was the brother of W.R. Whitmore, who was the rector of St. Luke's Episcopal Church, and Maria Elizabeth Guyon was christened and baptized at St. Luke's in 1858, and her sponsor was Louisa Farrar, the mistress and wife of and slave wife of Lorenzo Farrar. And you know the rest of that story. In July of 2023, Josie Brevard Cleveland from Grover in Cleveland County, North Carolina, came to Lincoln to invite me to speak at her family reunion at Crowder's Mountain State Park in Gaston County, North Carolina. What happened was the state of North Carolina had taken over the land of her father and ancestor and grandfather to form the state park called Crowder's Mountain State Park. They did it by hook and crook and by eminent domain. This was Oprah Winfrey's family. Mine, family. Because not Oprah, but Oprah's grandpa and grandma showed up in Johnson's DNA database. And remember, Dr. Boyd Gatherite had passed the history, responsible of the history of the Maple Grove clan to me. And I went in the military looking for a non-traditional educational program, which was not taught in any college or university in 1964. So I went about talking to every African, every Turk, every Sierra Lankan I could talk to learn the true history of African Americans in America, and that they were the Hebrew Israelites. That's how I ended up coming to Kosciuszko, where I was in the 44th 12th Air Commando Squadron. And I actually was stationed at the American Embassy in Ankara, Turkey, and got in an argument with Mossi Dayan of Israel over the way Jews treat African Americans and Africans. And if you want to know that I really had that conversation, years later, I confronted Dayan on WSB out of Atlanta, a 100-watt radio station, and I confronted him about what he had said to me in 1968. Of course, he lied and said he didn't say such a thing. Like he denied that Netanyahu called Barack Obama a cushy, which means nigger. And all that trouble they're having in the Middle East is based on what Ashkenazi and Sephardic Jews have done to African and African Americans who are Moreno Jews, Hebrew Israelites, and so forth. Now, I'm going to close, and I will come back again, and I will talk about my family in the movie called The Woman King, Django, the Black Panther, and you will find that those characters were in my family. Thank you and goodbye.